Okay, I think we can start. Alright, so welcome back to our year-end revision. Today is lesson 6. Right, so if you are new here, I'll give you a little introduction, right, before we get to the questions. Right, so we're a Math Specialist Center located at Parkway. Right, we help students with borderline grades turn around the results in a short period of time. Right, so if you are struggling with your problem sums and you just find it hard to improve, right? We will help you with that. Okay, we have many students coming to us with the same problem, right? It's either they are not able to identify keywords, okay, or they are just not familiar with how to apply the strategies. Right, so when they come to our center, okay, after some time with us, right, we realize that they learn a lot, right? And it's not so difficult after all, okay, to improve. Okay, with the given steps, right, you can solve any kind of questions. So what is the objective of this Zoom lesson? Right, is to help students, right, if you're struggling with problem sums, improve students' understanding and confidence in tackling the questions. Right, demonstrate how problem sums can be solved systematically. Right, math is about steps, right? It's very systematic. Okay, as long as you know what to do, right? What kind of question it is, what kind of strategy to apply, right? You'll be able to solve any kind of questions. Right, so I know your SA2 and PSLE is coming up very soon. So this is also one of the objectives, right? To help you prepare for your SA2 and PSLE. So the lesson outline, okay, it will be 2 different strategies, right? 4 questions each. And at the end, we'll be doing 2 higher order thinking questions, right? So those are about 4 to 5 marks. Right, so some ground rules to follow. Okay, audio will be muted, so you can do your communication through the chat, right? Please participate, so answer questions and ask questions. Okay, that way you'll learn. No spamming of the chat, right? We've experienced that. Please be considerate. Okay, and listen attentively, write down the solutions, and of course, have fun. Right, so before I jump into the questions, okay, we have an upcoming program in October, right? Is to further, right, prepare you for your examinations. So I will share the link with you right now in the chat. Give me a moment. Yeah, it's in the chat, so you can take a look. Right, if you click into it, okay, for example, the SA2 revision, right, we'll have 2 different types of classes for you to sign up, right? The first one is mostly topically, right? So we will target the different topics that you might struggle with. But whereas the other one will focus more on trending questions, right? And more popular questions that come out. So you can either sign up for both or one, so that's up to you, right? So how do you sign up? Once you click into it, okay, you can fill in the form at the end of the page here. Right, so for more information, you can contact us at our WhatsApp or our website, right, which will be shown at the end of class, right? So stay tuned for that. Right, so let's get to the questions. Today we'll be doing ratio. Let's take a look at the strategies first. Right, strategy 1 will be tackling total unchanged. Right, so what do? Fill in the BCA table. So for those of you who are familiar, right, BCA table, we tried it last week, okay, which means before, change, and after, right? And then make the values in the before and after rows equivalent. using common multiple, right? And then find 1 unit and solve for the answer. Right, so let's try. Question 1. Okay, the ratio of the number of red marbles to blue marbles in a box was 1:3 at first. Right, so underline and highlight the keywords. After 12 red marbles were added and 12 blue marbles were removed from the box. When you add, you plus. When you remove, you minus, right? So indicate it there so that you know what's going on. Right, and then at the end, the ratio became 3:1. How many blue marbles were there in the box at first? So step 1, fill in the BCA table. Right, so we have red and blue marbles. B for before, C for change, and A for after. So fill it in with whatever you highlighted, right? The ratio at first was 1:3, which is the before row here. So 1:3. What happens in between? 12 red marbles were added, so plus 12. And 12 blue marbles were removed, so minus 12. What happens at the end? The ratio becomes 3:1. Right, so once you see that this change row over here, you are adding 12 and subtracting the same number, 12 again. What does this tell us? Our total should be unchanged. Because you're adding the same number and subtracting the same number, so total is unchanged. So what is our total at the beginning? 3 plus 1, 4 units. 3 plus 1, 4 units. So in this case, do you need to make anything equivalent? Your total at the beginning is 4 units, and at the end is 4 units as well. Is there a need for us to make it equivalent? Yes, you don't need to, because it's already equivalent. So what do we do? Compare before and after. What happened? From 1 unit, the red ended up with 3 units at the end. So how many units were added? From 1 unit, you need to add 2 units to get to 3. So what does this tell us about the 12? Yes, I see a lot of you giving me the answer already. 2 units equals to 12. If you add 12, it must mean you're adding 2 units. And 2 units is equals to 12. Right, so find 1 unit. 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Yes, correct. Right, so once you have 1 unit, what's the last step? Solve for the answer. How do you solve for the answer? Look at the question again. What are they asking you for? How many blue marbles were there in the box at first? At first, there were 3 units of blue marbles. So blue at first, 3 units, which is 6 times 3, because your 1 unit is 6. So 18. So there were 18 blue marbles in the box at first. Okay, right, if you don't understand, no worries, we'll try another one. Question 2. Okay, it will be best if you copy it down along the way, right? If you copy only after I write finish, then you won't have enough time. Okay, let's get to question 2. The ratio of the boys to girls on a bus is 1:3. Okay, so this 1:3. After 15 boys boarded and 15 girls alighted. Boarded means plus or minus? Plus. Right, you're adding. Correct. Right, so alighted means minus. Right, after that happened, the ratio of the boys to girls on the school bus became 2:3. Find the number of boys in the school bus at first. Fill in the BCA table. You have boys and girls, before, change, after. Fill it in. At the beginning, what was the ratio? 1:3. 1:3. What is the change? 15 boys boarded. So plus 15 under the boys column here. And 15 girls alighted. So minus 15 for the girls column here. And at the end, the ratio became 2:3. Right. So looking at the change, you're adding 15 and subtracting 15. Plus and minus the same number. So your total wouldn't change, correct? Okay, total unchanged. Because you add in the 15 people onto the bus, right? And then you minus 15 again. So there's no change to the total for those of you who are still confused, right? Right, so what is the total? Before, you have 1 plus 3 units, which is 4. At the end, 2 plus 3, 5. If your total is unchanged, your 4 and 5 here should be the same, but they're not the same right now. So how? You have to make equivalent. Right, so 4 and 5, what is the common multiple? Okay, great. A lot of you are giving me 20. So we have to make it 20. So how do we do that? Right? 20 here, you have to times 5. Here, you have to times 4. If you times here, you have to times throughout the entire row. So 3 times 5, 15. 1 times 5, 5. 3 times 4, 12. 2 times 4, 8. Now that your total is equivalent, 20 and 20, we can compare. Right, so at first the boys have 5 units. At the end, 8 units. How many units were added? From 5 to get to 8. 8 units minus 5 units. Yes, good. 3. You're adding 3 units. And you know that 15 boys boarded the bus. So if you add 3 units and 15 boys were added onto the bus, that tells us that 3 units equals to 15. And 1 unit, you have to divide by 3, which is 5. Right, so from this 1 unit, we have to solve for the answer now. Right, so read the question again. They want the number of boys on the school bus at first. So look at the before column. This is the at first row here. Boys. Do I look at 1 or do I look at 5? Okay, in May. Alright, you're supposed to look at 5. Okay, correct, Ian. 5 units. Because it is the equivalent one. Right, always look at the equivalent ratio. So 5 units at first for the boys. And you have 1 unit. Right, so 5 times 5. There were 25 boys on the school bus at first. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's go to the next page, question 3. Right, so the ratio of the amount of money Alice had to the amount of money Bobby had was 9:16. If you want to go toilet, you can just go. You don't need to ask me. Okay, you just come back quickly so you don't miss out the rest of the questions. Right. After Alice gave $8 to Bobby, and the ratio amount of money she had to the amount of money Bobby had was 1:4. How much did Alice have at first? Okay, let me clear the screen. Okay, they want at first. Right, so first step, BCA. You have 2 people, Alice and Bobby. Before, change, after. Fill it in. 9:16 at first. Alice gave $8 to Bobby. If Alice gave, it means she minus 8. And Bobby received the 8. That means he added 8. So what's the after? 1:4. Right, it's given. So just fill it into the table. Right, so look at the change again. You minus 8 and then you plus 8. That means your total doesn't change. You're adding and subtracting the same number here. So total unchanged. Right, so let's find out what is the total here. 16 plus 9. How many units for the total? Okay, thank you, Aiman. 25. Right, and then at the end, 4 plus 1, 5. Okay, thank you, Syed. 5. If total is unchanged, that means that your total before and after has to be the same number. Are they equivalent now? No. So how to change it to be equivalent? Times 5. Okay, we can get 25 here. So that is the same. So 5 times 5, 25. 4 times 5, 20. 1 times 5, 5. Remember, you have to times throughout the entire row. So now that is equivalent, we can compare. Right, so Alice, 9 units at the beginning and 5 units at the end. So how many units were taken away from her? 9 units minus 5 units? Yes, 4 units. So what does this tell us? 4 units is $8. So what is 1 unit? Okay, divide by 4. Yes, $2. Okay, good. A lot of you are following. So 1 unit is $2. How much did Alice have at first? 9 units at first. So take your 1 unit, which is $2, times 9. So she has $18 at first. Correct. Okay, a lot of you got it. 9 units, $18. Okay, still confused? Don't worry, we have another question on total unchanged. Question 4. I'll give you some more time to copy first. Okay. Question 4. Okay, the ratio of the number of stickers Devi had to the number of stickers Raj had was 5:7. Devi to Raj. When Devi gives 48 marbles to Raj, the ratio became 3:5. How many stickers does Raj have at the end? Okay. Fill in the BCA table. 2 people, Devi and Raj. Before, change, after. Right, fill it in. 5:7 is the ratio at the beginning. Devi gives 48. So if she gives, that means she minus 48. Raj receives. So add 48. What happens at the end? The ratio becomes 3:5. It's given, right? So fill it in. Right, so looking at the change row again. Minus 48 plus 48. Same number, different signs, minus and plus. So that means your total doesn't change. Alright, so add it up. 7 units plus 5 units, their total at first is, okay, good, 12. And then after, what do you have? 8. Okay. If total is unchanged, this before here, 12, and after 8 has to be the same. Right, but they don't look the same right now. So what is the common multiple? We have to make it equivalent. Common multiple of 12 and 8. Okay, Nabil. 24. Okay, 24. Correct. So let's change it to 24. Times 2 times 3 times throughout. So you have 14 here, 7 times 2, 5 times 2, 10, 5 times 3, 15, 3 times 3, 9. 24 and 24 for the total is equivalent. So now we can compare. Right, let's look at Devi. 10 units at first, 9 units at the end. How many units were taken away? Yes, 1 unit, good. So if 1 unit was taken away and 48 stickers were given away, 1 unit is equals to 48. How many stickers does Raj have at the end? So look at Raj, this column, and look at the end, here. Do I look at 5 or do I look at 15? Okay, good. Look at 15. Look at the equivalent one. If you times 5, wrong already. 3 times 15. Which is 720. Okay, if you still don't understand why you times here, why you multiply, it's because total is unchanged, right? You are adding and subtracting the same number here to their total, right? So total is unchanged, which means that these numbers here under the total column has to be the same. But it was 12 and it was 8. It's not the same, so we have to make it the same using common multiple. So if you times 2 here to get 24, times 3 to get 24, it will be the same. Right? But when you multiply by 3 and 2, you have to multiply throughout here to get a set of equivalent ratio before you start comparing. Okay, good question. If I use a different common multiple, can I get the same answer? Yes, right. So if you use a different common multiple, right, you can get the same answer. However, you should always use the lowest one, which is 24. If you use a higher one, you're working with bigger numbers, right? Bigger numbers means that you have a bigger chance of making mistakes. Okay, why you minus 1 unit for the change? Because looking at these 10 units here and 9 units, what is the change? From 10 to 9, Devi must have subtracted 1 unit away, right, to get to 9 units. So that's why this 48 is equals to 1 unit. Okay? All right, let's get to strategy 2. If you have any other questions, you can ask me after class. Okay, next page. Okay, so what is strategy 2? Constant difference. Right, so step 1, you have to draw the model. Identify where is the constant difference. Find one unit and then solve for answer. So let's look at this question. Right, Mr. Tang is 45 years old and his daughter is 9 years old. In how many years' time will the ratio of Mr. Tang's age to his daughter's age be 4:1? Okay, what do you know about age? Age difference is always what? Okay, thank you, Haziq. Every time I tell you, right, age difference is always constant. Okay, good. Same, yeah, constant or same is the same thing. So let's say you have a sibling, right, who is maybe 5 years younger than you or older than you. In 10 years' time, will your sibling suddenly be 10 years older than you or younger than you? No. Right, so age difference is always constant. The difference between the age of you and your sibling, right, will always be the same no matter what. So you need to take note of this. Okay, so let's try this question. Now and in how many years' time? Right, so for now, Mr. Tang and the daughter, Mr. Tang is older than the daughter. By how much? What is their age difference? 45 minus 9. So the age difference is, okay, 36, thank you. So fill it in, 36. Right, and then in how many years' time will the ratio become 4:1? So what they want here is 4 units for Mr. Tang and 1 unit for the daughter. And remember, age difference is always constant. Which means what? The difference between them here in how many years' time will still be 36. It will always be 36. So that tells us that 3 units is 36. With this, you can find 1 unit. So 1 unit equals to, yes, 12. One unit is 12. Right, so if the daughter is 12 years old in question mark years time, and right now she is 9 years old, how many years have passed from 9 to 12? You take 12 minus 9, correct? Yes, 12 minus 9, 3. So 3 years have passed. And that's your answer. Right, let's try another one. Question 2. Right, so you have another age question. John is 24 years old and his cousin Max is 6 years old. In how many years' time will the ratio of John's age to Max's age be 3:1? Right, so you have now and how many years' time? So let's draw the model for John and Max. What is the age difference? John is 24, Max is 6. Right, so find the difference. He is, yes, 18. 18 years older than Max. So take note, this 18 years of difference is always constant. Right, so let's draw in how many years' time. They want the ratio to be 3:1, which means John will have 3 units and Max 1. And what do you know about age difference? Always constant. So the difference between them here will still be 18. Yes, correct. So what does this tell you looking at the model? 2 units equals to 18. And 1 unit you can find by dividing 18 into 2, which is 9. So Max will be 9 here. And right now, he's 6. So how many years have passed? Okay, great. A lot of you found it already. From 6 years to 9 years. The difference, okay, 3 years. So 3 years have passed. Right. Okay, I'll give you some more time to copy. Okay, before we move on to question 3. Yes, the answer is 3 years. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me after class. Okay, let's get to question 3. Okay, Lydia bought 516 kg of salmon and 2.5 kg of tuna. She used the same amount, right? Keyword, same amount of salmon and tuna to cook dinner. The ratio of the amount of salmon left to the amount of tuna left is 3:1. How much of each type of fish was used to cook dinner? Right, so let's start off with what we know. The salmon and the tuna. Which is more? Right, looking at the numbers given. Salmon, correct. Right, so draw the salmon's model a bit longer. Right, and the tuna. Okay, and label it 5 1/6, 5 1/2, 2 1/2, sorry. Okay, so label it. Alright, so what else do you know? She used the same amount of salmon and tuna to cook dinner. Same amount. Right, so what we want to do is take out some parts of it. This is the amount used. Okay, it has to be the same. And what do we know? Right, whatever is left is 3:1. 3:1. This is salmon is to tuna left. So if I use this much, the salmon, you will have 3 units left. Compared to the tuna with 1 here. Tuna left 1. So what can you say about this difference here? How do I find it? This difference here is 2 units, and you can find it by taking salmon minus tuna, right? So 2 units equals to 5 1/6 minus 2 1/2. What do you get? Okay, good. 2 2/3. That's 2 units here. What is 1 unit? Divided by 2. Okay, great. 1 1/3. So 1 unit is 1 1/3. How do I find out how much was used? This is also 1 unit, and this is also 1 unit. Right, so looking at the model, how do you find out how much fish was used? What's my next step? Okay. Junchen, total minus remaining. Okay, total minus remaining, correct. So which part? You can either take tuna or salmon. So for tuna, the total is 2 1/2. The remaining, which is left, is 1 unit that you found here. So take 2 1/2 minus 1 1/3. You can get the red portion here, which is what was used. Yes, 1 1/6. Thank you, Ryan. So what was used? 1 1/6 kg. Okay, let's try question 4. Brandon had $90 and Charlotte had $48 at first. each of them bought a shirt at the same price. This is at first, they bought at the same price. The amount of money Brandon and Charlotte had left was, in the ratio, 4:1. How much did the shirt cost? Okay, I'm going to clear the screen. Right, so if you can start drawing the model. Right, it's the same type as question 3. So Brandon and Charlotte, 2 people. Brandon has 90, which is more than Charlotte, who has 48. And they bought a shirt at the same price. Right, this is all of their money, and they bought the same shirt at the same price. So cut away the same amount for the both of them. Right, this is 90, and this is 48. This is the shirt, so S for shirt. What is left? Charlotte had 1 unit here compared to Brandon, 4. Right, Brandon to Charlotte left is 4:1. So Charlotte has 1 unit here. Brandon should have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's the difference here? Yes, good. 3 units, and you can find it by taking 90 minus away 48. Which is, 42. So there's 42 here. That's 3 units, so find 1 unit. Yep, 14. Right, and then find the shirt. So how do you find the shirt? Okay, I'll give you some time. Right, can you select the answer? Right, if you found it. What must you do with that 1 unit? Is it already the cost of the shirt? Or is there another step that you must do? Okay, give you a few more seconds. Okay, let's see what I've selected. Oh, some of you telling me you select the wrong answer. Okay, so what is the correct answer? The majority of you chose $34, right? Is that the answer? Let's check. So the shirt is this red portion here, and we know that 14 is 1 unit here. So your last step to find the shirt is taking 48 minus 14, which is 34. So if you selected 34, that's correct. Right, $14 is only 1 unit, so that's not the cost of the shirt. Right, so if you selected 14, no, that's not correct. Right, so it should be 34. So do the amendments, right, if you selected the wrong answer. Right, do your corrections. Okay, let's get to the higher order questions. Okay, question 1. The ratio of Alicia's cookies to Sarah's cookies was 5:7. Jean had 1/5 of what the 3 girls had altogether. If Alicia had 45 cookies, how many more cookies need to bake to have the same number of cookies as the sum of Alicia and Sarah's cookies? Okay, let's break down the question bit by bit. Right, so first of all, we know that Alicia to Sarah, their ratio is 5:7. Right, so step by step, don't be scared by the question. So write down the ratio. Okay, what's the other set of ratio that we know? Jean had 1/5 of what the 3 girls had altogether. Jean, 1/5 of the 3 girls. 3 girls means what? Alicia plus Sarah plus Jean herself. All 3 of them. So draw your arrows. 1/5 of the 3 girls means Jean has 1 unit compared to the total of all of them, which is 5. Right. Is there anything that I can make equivalent at the moment? Shanice, A plus S equals to 4. Okay, great. How do you find that out? Right, over here we have A plus S. What is the total? 7 plus 5? 12. Okay, good. How about over here? How do I have a column for A plus S? We know that Jean is 1 unit, which is included in this 5 here, together with A plus S. So if we take Jean's 1 unit away from here, we can get 4 units for A plus S. Here. Yes, good. A lot of you are giving me the correct concept. So if A plus S is 12 here, and it's 4 here, we have to make it equivalent because it's a repeated identity. So make it to 12 times 3. If you times 3 here, you have to times throughout for this entire set of ratio. So you have 15 and 3. Okay, and we know that Alicia has 45. Here. So let's write out the ratio first. Alicia, 5 units. Sarah, 7. And Jean, 3. You must write the equivalent one. Right, and 5 units here equals to 45 is given. So find 1 unit, which is 9. Correct. So how many more cookies does Jean need to make to have the same amount of cookies as the sum of Alicia and Sarah? So Alicia and Sarah, their total is 12 units, which is 9 times 12. 108. And Jean has 3 units. 27. So how many more must she make to be the same as A plus S, 108 here? Find the difference. So your final answer, what is it? Yes, 81. Good. Okay. On to the last question. Okay, Abby, Betty, and Katie made some paper cranes. Abby made 1/4 of the total number of paper cranes. Okay. One quarter. Betty and Katie made the remaining number of paper cranes in the ratio of 7:5. Remaining. Abby made 48 fewer bookmarks than Katie. How many bookmarks did Abby and Katie make all together? So first of all, Abby made 1/4 of the total. So let's draw a model, right? This is all the paper cranes. And Abby made 1/4 of it. So this is for A, Abby. Betty and Katie made the remaining number of paper cranes. So whatever is left of the paper cranes is made by B plus C, Betty and Katie. Right, and we know that their ratio B is to C is 7:5. What is the total of B plus C? 12. Okay, good. So this is 12 units. Which means each part here, how many units do you have within it? You need to have, yes, 4. In order to have 12 units. Which means that this is also 4. And Abby makes 4 units. Right, so what's the other information given? Abby made 48 fewer than Katie. So the difference between A and C, right? Oh, C is more. because AB made fewer. Okay, so C minus A, the difference is 5 units minus 4 units, which is 1 unit. Right, so 1 unit is equals to this 48 fewer. So how many bookmarks did A and C make altogether? A plus C. 4 units plus 5 units, which means you need to find out 9 units, which you can because you already have 48 as 1 unit. So total will be, yes, 432. Okay, so that's all for today. Right, great. Some of you got the answer even before me. Right, so thank you for joining us. If you still need the question to be explained, you can wait until I'm done with this part here, then I'll answer your questions. Right, so I'll leave this on the screen here for those of you who want to contact us further. Right, you can WhatsApp us or email us if you have any questions. Right, and I'll be sending the link again to our October programs. Right. Okay, so it's in the chat now. You can click on it. Okay, so you can go and sign up for our programs if you like in October. Right, so same thing, once you click into it, okay, depending on your level or if you have siblings, right, you can sign up as well. So there are 2 types of classes. Click into it, scroll down to the end and fill in the form if you like. Right, if you have more questions, you can also WhatsApp us, right, regarding the program. Okay, so that's all. You can leave if you have no other questions. Okay, bye-bye.